Okay, g'day guys. Look, Andrew Dwight here. This one's specifically for builders. You know, look, technology's been reasonably ordinary for us for a long time, and I thought about 8 years ago I'd had enough of doing quotes for free and having clients, getting me to do quotes for nothing and seeing very little to no return. So I created a product called PlusSpec, and I heard probably 20 years ago there was a program that you could quickly draw up a plan that spits out a set of costs, and Bob's your uncle. Yet to see it, but anyhow, look, I've done the best that I could to suit builders with this particular program that you're looking at. This is PlusSpec for builders. We do have an architectural version as well, and Drew usually does those kind of tutorials. Let's get straight down to it and cut a little bit of the BS. Okay, first things first, we get a set of plans from a client. Usually they're looking to get a price on a house or whatever it is. So I'm going to go File, and I'm going to import a set of plans. You notice my little mouse pointer there, it's just showing you what my mouse is doing. And I'm going to grab just a crappy example plan that I got off the net. It's a screenshot of a PDF. So if you've got a PDF, you can put it into your scanner, or you can use a program on Windows called Snippet Tool, or you can download other programs to do it. It's not what I'm here to show you today, but essentially we now have a screenshot of a plan in this 3D model. Notice that we're not working in 2D. It's kind of natural, and us not being draftspeople, learning a difficult piece of software I don't think is in our time frame. We've got more important things to do. On that note, look, I employed some fellas straight out of school. They learned this pretty quick. My son, about 2 hours it took him to learn this. He's 11. Alright, let's have a look. So we've got a plan here. It's not to scale. I basically just dragged it in. I selected it. So basically my space bar, when I click on it, it goes blue. If it's not blue, it won't scale. Computers are dumb, right? They don't understand what you're trying to do, so you've got to tell them, sort of like some apprentices. Right, so I've clicked on that there. It's now got that blue outline, and I need to get my tape measure and make sure that it's to scale. Right, so from the end of the wall here, and I'm zooming out, right? Zooming out this way so I can get in this way. To the end of the wall here, zoom in because this is your first measurement. You want to make sure it's reasonably accurate. It's right in 12,000 and pushed enter. Right, or return, depends on what kind of computer you've got. Okay, and now I have a plan to scale. I can double check it. Not a bad idea, it only takes a second. I've just grabbed a line tool. I'm going to draw a line on an axis. See that? It's red. That's green. In between here sort of could be any angle. Right, and right in 12 meters. 12,000 millimeters. Double check it. Yep. Works pretty good. Right, so now we've got a scale plan. There isn't any need for us at quoting stage to go in and write in the sizes of every single individual room. However you can if you want to. Personally, I think if you're trying to get a quote out and trying to win a job, I don't think you've got time to do that. Right, so I'm going to start with my walls. Okay, I don't even know anything about this plan. I'm going to assume that it's brick veneer. So I go to my wall tool, most obvious place. And in here it's got several different things. We want to go on the first one, right? It's wall tool. It could be double brick, it could be, 2750s, 2740s, whatever. You can type in a size of the height of your wall there, the height of the head of the top of your windows, so the underside of your head, and the type of wall. I'm going to go brick veneer. Okay. You can get into your stud sizes and everything down here in stud spacings. It's pretty easy. It's basically clicked on timbers. The materials that you want to use on the outside, they might have told you a specific brick. You might want to search it up, and it might be, this is an Austral range. I don't know, it might be red brick. You can basically just go in here and go click on that brick. If it's just commons, you can just go in right in there and write commons, whatever. Right, commons red. Okay, I'm not going to even worry about that. I'm just going to just use the default one, which is here. You can choose your own ranges. Brick hardware, do you want to allow for it? Flashings, insulation. What's the insulation? If you don't want to worry about that, just go none. I'm going to leave it in there. I'm going 600 centimeters with my stud, so it's going to be a 580. Plasterboard, termite barrier. Okay. Basically, all I did was select that. I don't have to do it again. It's going to remember it forever on until I change it. Right, I go submit. First thing I want to do is I want to start from a wall. Now I can't see my frame here. I know we build with a frame first with brick veneer, but I can't see it because this drawing hasn't shown it. So I'm going to have to start from the outside of the wall. But you'll notice by default PlusSpec wants to draw the way we build it. Right, my right arrow, if I keep clicking it, you'll notice that now my outside of my wall lined up. I need to draw clockwise by default, right? Which means basically I'm going to draw this way, right? But if I push insert, I can draw the other way. Okay, so insert on the keyboard. I'm going to draw clockwise, but basically if you push insert, you'll be able to have the outside of the wall the other way, right? As I said, you can type in these measurements as you go if you want to, or if you're just doing a quote and it's not a drawing to put into council, which majority of builders don't do, then don't worry about it. Okay, I'm going to basically trace over this plan. It's pretty simple what I'm doing, nothing too much to it, and I can trace this plan over. A couple of things that I probably do want to get right, because even if I was past here by 10 millimeters or something, it'd put a hip in, because as I said before, computers are stupid. They don't really understand what we're doing. Right, so I need to line it up so it's like a string line. I push shift and I click there, and that way it lined up with there. Okay, and go up to here. Notice I'm zooming in and out. You can see on my little mouse there what I'm doing. It's sort of showing you which way I'm zooming. Now this one here, I want to line this wall up as well. Even if I'm out a couple of mil, your roof's going to be on a skew, your trusses won't line up and so on. So I'm going to push shift again, come over to here, and I'm going to click one more time. I've got a full set of walls. Now it's not unusual for some houses to have different types of walls. So you can say, okay, well, you know, this wall here might have been double brick or whatever. You can go back and change it. Simply go to here and change the type of wall. Okay, could be from brick veneer to something else, whatever. If you click it, I'll do one for you and I'll undo it. I'm going to say double brick or external cladding with plasterboard. I'm going to go down here and go submit, and it changed it to a single skin wall, you see. If I just want to undo that and go Control Z, away I go, I'm back to my original wall. It basically undid the last move. You can go Control Z, I don't know, about 20 times I think, and undo 20 last moves. Alright, so now I have a set of walls. Big deal. Probably most programs could probably do that. We can show the client what type of colour bricks that we're using and so on. But I need to deduct my windows and I need to do my internal walls. I won't get too caught up, because I think you've probably got better things to do than hear me bang on about the same thing over and over. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose an internal wall, internal only, same height. Probably don't want double top plates on my internal wall. Right, so I'm just going to say I want one top plate, and if I'm going to truss it, I probably don't even want it to be 2450 high. I'll leave it up to you. Go down here and go submit. And I'm just going to quickly do a couple of walls here. So I'll go from here to here, say, here to here. Now you might have different types of linings in powder rooms and so on. You can change those as well in those menus that I showed you before. Okay, and so I go from, say, here to here. Right arrow or insert will get you out of that, so you can change what you want to do, where you want your wall to go. Right. And back to here. I'm not going to get all of my internal walls done because I'm just showing you. Now it actually has drawn the wall with the plasterboard on both sides for you. Okay, now I'm going to put some windows in. Really helpful and important tool here is this one here. What it does is it basically sets everything up for you, and you'll see what happens here in a second. I'll move this down a touch. Click that. See what happens across the top here? All these things came up. They're called scenes, and basically what they do, if I click on all, it shows you everything that's inside the drawing. Right, so you can see studs behind the walls there and so on. If I click on structure, just showing me timber frame. Depending on how well the drawing has been done that you've got will depend on whether you can see these through. So you can actually do windows when you're looking at all, provided you can see where the window is. This particular plan, it's not too bad, but what we did, so to make it a bit easier, we made it so that we can see through the plan. So when I click my space bar, basically what I've done is it's like a select all. I can now select my wall, and I can go in and I can put windows in. Right. So you can choose the type of window. I'm going to use double hung here, but you can basically scroll through them. Louvers and so on, whatever it is that you need. Right. You can change the size of the heads over top of the windows. You can change the type of windows, as I said, the materials, what colour windows are going to be, type of glass, you're going to have any tinting on them, and go submit. Right, I can kind of see my window there, and I can, because of my drawing scale, I'm going to say roughly, look at that, it says 550, I'm going to say 600. You can, if you've got a window schedule, you can go off that. I can change the heights of the windows as well. And it's not that easy to do it this way, even though I can sort of see through the plan there. I'm going to show you another way to do it in a sec. Okay, if I go to my structure, I can see really quickly and easily where things are. Notice when I did that, it put in a set of jack studs on each side and a head over top of the window. You can type these measurements in if you want to, or just trace over them. Right, and it's putting in the structure. Notice I need a set of double studs here to get the end of that wall. Probably that stud would actually do it, so I can just go in here and I can split the wall. So I right click, split wall, and say, okay, I want to split it there, so I've got a set of double studs in there. Excuse me. Alright, that's how to put windows in. If you want to go through that again, just push pause now. We're at about 12 minutes. You can go back and you can run that. Alright, next thing to do is put a roof on it. Okay, well I'll put a concrete slab in it next. Right, what I didn't tell the walls is there a step down, so I'll just hide this plan here. So I've set up a shortcut called hide, but you can actually right click and hide as well. Pretty sure there it is there, hide. Okay, I haven't got a step down for a concrete slab. It might be bearers and joists, I don't know. I'm going to make this one a concrete slab. So what I'm going to do is right click one wall, go to my walls, I'm going to select all of the connector walls. Walls. It's slightly out of my screen there actually. Right click, walls, select connector walls. Now I've got all of my walls selected. There's a couple of things I can do. I can go and edit the walls and change my drop down before I put a slab in. So I can have a 172 step down or 86, it doesn't matter. So down the bottom here, manual overrides. We have external step down for concrete, which I'm going to say I'm going to make it 86 on this one, and my eaves drop off. I've got a plan, an elevation of this job. I'm going to surmise it's got a 600 overhang, so 280 drop off from my eaves and go submit. Alright, it did the drop off, so I've reduced the amount of bricks I need, but it also dropped the external skin down. I can also now go to here and go right click walls, generate floor face from walls. It's pretty easy. Look, first time you do it, watch this video. Okay, navigation is probably the hardest thing, is just to do this, and basically you can see the center button of my mouse is green. I'm basically just pushing that down. If I want to pan, I can push shift, it'll move me left and right, or depends on your fingers. If you can push two buttons at the same time, you can pan like that. Just makes it really easy. Get used to zooming in and out, you know. Okay, so you'll notice that bottom face that I drew there is dotted, which basically means that's where my concrete's going to go. Okay, so I'm going to go to my floor tool. If you hover over them, it tells you it's a floor tool. go to here, and I need to go in here and have a look at my edge beams and so on. You'll need to go to your engineers there. Recess depth 160, recess depth is 86. That's a recess width. Okay, go submit. Alright, it's stuck in a concrete slab for me. Pretty easy. I can also go and draw a roof from these walls. So if I click on a wall again, spacebar, click on a wall till it went blue, right click, walls, and I can generate roof from walls. Okay, I can choose the pitch of the roof, what type of roof I'm going to use, if it's metal or whatever it is. Overhangs, rafter heights, batten height, so we get our right pitching point and go submit. Right, bang, stuck that on for me. If I had an overhang, I can actually just go to here. I push Control Z there, as you can see. I can move this. So what I did, I pushed my spacebar and that end line there went blue. I can move it out to here and it'll give me an overhang here. Right, now I can go back to my roof tool. Change the pitch or whatever it is you want to do. I might put, say, a tile roof on, concrete tile. Go submit. Bang, I have a concrete roof tile. Ugly as sin, that one. I might want to change it back to something else. Go to here. And we can change the type of roof tile. So if the client's chosen a roof tile, go into here and go search. And I don't know, we might have this prestige roof tile. Go down to the bottom and go submit. Okay, kind of got a flat roof tile on there. You can change them to suit whatever the client selection is or whatever you get at the best rate. Okay, so now I have a house, and inside of that house I have structure. Right, and obviously I'm going to need something to hold that roof up. So I can either use trusses or I can pitch it. Let's have a look at how we do that. So roof tool is obviously where you would put trusses. And I can go into here. Oops. Here. It's just common trusses. Is it a hip truss we're going to start with? I'm going to say hip truss. Right. Put in the pitch, make sure it corresponds with the roof. The upstand if you need it. If that's the case, you probably want to change the original roof. Overhangs. I'm going to say 600 overhang on all sides. End truss, that basically means when I draw a set of trusses, it will put in one at the end. I'm going to draw it here and let's see if I can show you what I mean. Got to zoom in sometimes, as I said before. Right, you can see that I didn't zoom in properly there. I'm going to go escape, so I can start on the outside of my top plate. Right. And I'm going to go down here. Just to show you, look, I mean, it's a bit of a guess here whether I need an end truss. Now, this will take, any computer will take a little bit of time because it's doing a fair bit. It's doing your bottom chords, your compression, tension webs, and so on. Okay, it didn't put an end truss in because I didn't have one selected here. If I go back from the other way, I'll show you what that means if I put an end truss in and why I don't usually do it in this particular roof type. So I'm going span of the roof first. Okay, if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Control Z. Now, if I put an end truss in here, I'm going to get an extra truss. I don't really want it because essentially I don't want two trusses next to each other, and it's just an extra cost I don't really need. Okay, so I've got two trusses there. So I don't want that. If I go Control Z, it undid it. I'm going to go and unclick end truss. I'm going to go back over to here. Zooming in, you see. Really important you can see what you're doing. It's like trying to use a hammer, trying to knock in a nail with a sledgehammer. It's too long, too far away. Right, there I have my trusses there. You can see I'm going to need a girder truss through here. So basically I need these overhangs turned off. Thought about that as well. Basically if I click here, can do this on sort of any computer. Obviously, like tools, the more you spend on them, the better they are. Okay, and I can have a set of saddles going back up here, and I could pitch this here if I want to. Depending on yourself and how much work you've got on, sometimes it's cheaper just to pitch these kind of things out of stick timber than it is to mess around with a set of trusses. So I'm just going to put one truss in here. Oops, click the wall tool. Here. Okay. I can put in an end truss here if I want to. Do I want to put my saddles in there? Include valley truss. Okay. The adjoining pitch is 20 degrees. Rafter size adjoining. Most of this makes sense, and you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't take long, so I'm going to go submit. So my span of my roof from here to here, and from here to here. Okay. I actually put a hip roof in there. I didn't want to do that. I actually want that to be a gable. So go back to here. Trusses again. Say gable. Common truss. I don't want a gable truss in there. I don't have an overhang unless I had a Dutch gable or something. Submit. Here to here, and I'll pitch the rest of the roof. Okay. Now, I actually probably should have pushed shift when I did that, but I can move them later. Save myself going back and redrawing it. I can move them, so there's a move tool here. If I click it, or I can use M as a shortcut on my keyboard. There we go. You can see that my overhangs are clashing there. You'd probably leave that, but you can turn them off if you want to. Right, and everything that I'm drawing is giving me a bill of quantities, and it's happening pretty quick. I'm going to show you how I'd go about pitching this section here. Alright. Okay, so I'm going back to all. Now, I really only want to pitch this section here because I've already got trusses here, so I'm just going to go to here. I'll keep clicking. You'll notice all of that went sort of dotted blue. So I used my space bar to select it, and then I clicked it. Click one, that one's blue. Shift and shift. And I can just go and put my rafters in there by itself. So inside of the roof tool, you've also got a pitch roof tool. You choose the size of your timber. I'm going to use 90mm because that's what I had in there before. It doesn't have to be H2, you've got a whole heap of timber sizes here, so it might be just normal timber. Go submit. It's pretty easy when you get used to this because it's basically what we do on site to a certain extent. But it's given me the lengths of all these rafters as well, which is kind of handy. If I need to put in another, looks like I'm missing a rafter in there, I can just go back and put in one rafter by itself. So inside of this tool here, down the bottom, it's got alternatives and rafter from points. Right, you can do them in any angle. I can just say, okay, well, first things first, I don't know what my overhang is here. So I probably need to sort of put like a bit of a string line across so I can measure off it. I use the T for tape measure tool. Rafter from points. Right, draw from here up to here. There's my extra rafter, and it's giving me long point to short point measurement in the takeoff. So just to show you what I mean there. Go over to here. It's going to ask me for a job address. Go and put in your details. You can save these by default too. I just put them in because you guys. And I'm Andrew. Address, whatever it is. Say one. Put in the right job address, obviously, because it comes out on your orders in a sec. You'll see that. And this is version number 1. If you've got a bushfire category, put it in. I'm only taking a guess what that one is. Wind classification for your trusses might be N2. You're best off filling these in if you've got them available, because then you will have the manufacturers or whoever's doing the purchase order, they'll know what the classification is and quote accordingly. So what I did was a takeoff of just everything that I was looking at on the screen. I'll just go back. I was only looking at framing there. Right, so I got all of my framing and it's all been grouped, so you can see they're probably my studs, 2.38s, and I've got 2.345s. That'll be for the ones without the double top plates and ones with the double top plates. My roof framing. Okay, if I go back to all here and I did a takeoff, you'll notice that I'll have windows and everything, roof trusses, the width of the roof trusses span from the creepers. Right, the pitch, you can go and associate price. So inside of here, if I click on this and I go to this dollar symbol here, I can go and put in prices. So here's my roof tile. I can set my price, how much I pay for it. I don't know, it might be $20 a square metre, and I might pay the roof tile as $20 a square metre. Ceiling insulation, sarking, eaves of feet linings, fascia and gutter. I've already got my prices in there. Gutter, price to install, and once you go down the bottom here and go save and update, it'll save it for next time. Okay, now when I go and do a takeoff, and I went to say my gutter, roof waterproofing, gutter here, you notice it's got in the price, the unit price, the supply price, and the fit price. I can go in and put in a margin as well if I don't like the customer, 25%, or if I really don't like them more. And it's updating prices down the bottom here. I can go through and put those prices in and save them to the next time I do the job, and I'm away. From memory there was some internal walls in here, and I hid the floor plan. So let's have a look. Edit, unhide, last. Now I can see that I've got a door that's got to go in there. I can just select the wall, even in frame, or I can do it in all. I can grab my door, choose the type of door that I'm using. Looked like it was a double set of doors before. Submit, and I can go in. I can't see the plan very well there. There it is there, and type in the size that suits standard doors. That says 1.30 m, so I guess it's 2.520, so it might be 1.40 m. Okay. I can now go in and have a look around as well. So I'll just hide this floor plan. And I can go in and look through those doors because they open and close. But they're also sitting in my bill of quantities as well. So if I look through this plan, you notice I have all my trusses and everything in there that's required to build it. Great way to do a quote, great way to show a client what they're getting for their money, but that we know that there's more to jobs than that. Okay, so there's other things obviously involved, you know, like framing hardware or, you know, site fencing or OH&S stuff. So we might need a toilet. Go submit, put it over here, scroll through these, skip bin, and we can move all these around. It tells us we can change the size of the skip bin. You'll notice, watch this, it'll change. So we change it to a 4 cube, submit. We can associate prices with those as well. What else have we got? Still site fence. Put in site fence. I can scale them out, or I can just type in a length. I might need 10 meters of site fence. Alright. Or I can just scale them, as I said. So scale, which is this one here, or S. We might need to line up with there. And they're all coming out in my takeoff as well. What else have we got in here? Filtration fence, most jobs need it. Scale that out as well if we want. Okay, so all the things that we would sometimes forget are there. Nuts and bolts, frame hardware. Just put in like something for me to look at there. If I right click it, I can go in here and I can start to write in, well, how much alcohol do I want, how many concrete nails do I want, what size dynabolts I need, and so on. I've been doing this slow just so I can show you what's going on, but it's a really good way to communicate with the client but also understand what's involved in a job. Now I understand that we won't have everything in here, so you could say, okay, well, I don't know, we might have some special water feature or something like that. I can click on it and I can just use the tool in here called the BIM tool. I can call it whatever I want to do. So I might call it water feature or whatever it is. Okay, where is it? Does it need item code? It might be special item. I'm going to leave it on layer 0, but you can change it to a layer. So for instance, you might want it to turn up with a silk fence or something. Location, it's in the side yard. Notes about it. This is a special water feature. Terrible speller. Okay, I can zoom down. Right, and put in a whole heap of other stuff, prices and so on. I might say, okay, well the price on this one should be 300, 450 say. Submit. Now if I go and do a takeoff, notice before I said it was on layer 0. If I go to layer 0, I now have the total price, 450 plus 300 to fit it. It's in the side yard, it's a special water feature. So it's good for variations as well. Go through and put all your prices in and save them. You can use this job over and over and over as a default file. This one's sort of pretty rough, but just gives you an indication of what you can do and how quickly you can do it, and then you can get these out for quote very, very quickly. So at the end of the day, there's several things you get out of this. So essentially you've got, this is what I'm quoting on, instead of a dodgy plan that doesn't really, show too much information. But you can also charge for this kind of thing. People are really happy to be able to see their house. You can make them look pretty, and you can do a whole heap of special things and make them look like it's actually, a real house kind of a thing. It's a good selling point for you as a builder. It's good for the clients to understand they know what it is that they're paying for, and it's a good way to get a bill of quantities from a plan. You've also got all of your elevations and everything in here. These scenes up the top, I only spoke briefly about them. Let's close this down again. But essentially, right down to sections and shadows. So inside of SketchUp, it's got shadows, and we can say time of day. We can set north points. We can do a whole heap of things. This is the month of the year. We can look at floor plans, ground floor plan. There's a heap of stuff that we can do from this, and you can dimension it up as well, so you can just go through, and I've got a shortcut called, which I made D, which is for dimension. Right, but you can also use this one over here, it's a dimension tool. You can write things on here. There is no door. The architect might have missed it. You can communicate with the client. Let's go back to all here. I'll show you another good way of communicating. In the BIM tool, there's a tag tool. Okay, in here we can associate things for cost or office or safety, confined spaces or defective tools, plant, trenches, falling objects, hazardous substances, a whole heap of things, moving objects, so it might be a crane, noise, right, safety issues, or we might just want to build time. We might want to associate costs for the build time because it's going to take extra to cut this roof. Inside of here we can go in and say, okay, well we're going to assign it to the hexagonal roof. Locations at the front, say. Notes about it. Cut roof from stick timber. And then customers can write in replies, purchase price, I don't know, you might allow $350, whatever it is. Install price, $400. Okay, and go submit. And now I have a tag in there. And you can actually, because clients not using this commercially can just use SketchUp Make. You can send them this model. It's only small. So if I went and said File, Save As, I don't know, put it on my desktop, call it Builder's Model. Right, save, go to my desktop, look for Builder's Model. Up here, if I want to look at how big it is, can I email it? It's 10.9 meg. You can email that kind of stuff pretty easily, which means that now that you can communicate without even talking to the client, every time you need to give them something, I usually get them to come into my office and go through the drawing. Now you can see that we sort of get into some pretty fancy stuff. This is a real simple one. And more importantly, you can explain what it is that you've got to do to the people that work for you, the ridge cappings or whatever it might be. All this kind of stuff can be looked at and communicated very well. We now have what I like to call this virtual design and construction. There is a thing around an acronym that you might hear. It's called BIM, Building Information Modeling. Essentially, this is building information modeling, but building it as we actually build it, instead of just pretty plans or not so pretty plans that we would normally see. Okay. If you wanted to put sections through it as well, that's just so you know what a section is. We can move these things through the house very quickly and easily. I can move this one through here and I can activate it. Right, and it's cutting through the house in 3D. We can delete them. The main thing is that it's easy to use. What I'm doing isn't rocket scientist sort of stuff. We'll leave that for the rocket scientists, but we're quoting a house and we're doing it very efficiently. Alright guys, look, I hope that helps you out. If there's any questions, look, feel free to give us a call, 9679 2429 in Sydney, Australia. Cheers.